Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
Mr. Trump, that's the best message I've ever heard for you. Now that you've already declared that there are two sexes, you're not even talking about gender. You probably don't know the difference. But there are intersex people who don't have XY chromosomes. They're XYY or XXY or something like that. You don't acknowledge those people exist, but they do. And beyond chromosomes, which almost none of us know are chromosomes, the expression of your genes can result in someone who is XY to be a woman that nobody would even know she ever had a Y chromosome. Because sometimes expression of genes is affected by other things. And we don't know all the details, but we're all human. How do you know that I'm left-handed? Because I can tell you that I'm left-handed. When somebody calls for a left-handed hammer on a Habitat for Humanity job, if I'm there, I show up. The people who are not left-handed don't show up for the left-handed hammer job. Well, we couldn't put this nail in this door frame because it was opening in the wrong direction. And if we just had a guy who could use a left-handed hammer, then we could get that nail in there real easy. That's just one of many things that you should think about. If you want to know whether a trans person is a woman, just ask them. They'll tell you. I'm a woman. I've always been a woman. I don't know how to be a man. But just have compassion and you'll know the answer. If you'll just have compassion, you won't separate immigrant parents from their children. If you just imagine children going to bed at night without their parents for no other reason than Trump's border czar decided to raid illegal immigrants. I don't think there should be any illegal immigrants. You find a compassionate way to pass a law and be good to other humans. It's time for that. We've gotten to the point in the 21st century where we should have compassion for the rest of our human beings. I'm sick of all these wars and all this hatred. Mr. Trump, if you hate trans people or other LGBT people, what's wrong, man? Why do you hate these people? Being president is not just about being the person with the most power. You have a responsibility to take care of people. Trump described this church service as he described the bishop as nasty, a nasty bishop. I'm not religious. I don't believe there's a God. But I believe that this bishop has a good message for how we should treat LGBT and immigrant people. And there's a lot of complaints that the bishop overstepped her boundaries. I disagree. Somebody needs to send this message to you, Mr. Trump. When you say they could have done better, which they? I would hate to be Mariann Edgar Budde right now because she felt that it was her duty to send this message. And she has to suffer the consequences of being the messenger of a message that truly needs to be given. Don't kill the messenger. Don't say that she was a nasty bishop. I don't know how else to address this. I think the number one thing you need right now, Mr. Trump, President Trump, is compassion for the humans that you have to live with on this planet, on this blue speck